A ship crashes in space, leaving several of its crew members stranded on the surface of a desert planet. It turns out that this is a military unit transporting a prisoner who managed to escape. He managed to steal a weapon and began shooting at the soldiers. The commander of the Centurion 7 operation opens return fire, but quickly loses the target and is wounded himself. In addition, his personal computer, Clea, is torn off and lies in the danger zone. But the military man takes a risk, gets the device, and activates communication with the base. The commander reports the ship crash and the prisoners escape, receiving an order in response to take the fugitive alive. Cleo injects the wounded man with the necessary medicine and reports that the object is quickly moving away from the crash site. The planet is lifeless, does not appear on any maps. The atmosphere here is rarefied, so they should not take off their helmets until their bodies adapt. The day here lasts 33 hours. The commander announces that there are only 3 days left to catch the fugitive and orders them to set off. But first, he makes a kind of shield from the remains of the ship's hull. The squad follows the course laid out by Cleo and soon catches up with the fugitive. But the soldiers are very tired, and it is also very hot on the planet. They do not understand how this creature can move so quickly in these conditions and suggest letting the fugitive get tired of thirst. Then they will be able to easily take him, but the commander reminds them of the order to take him alive. The lieutenant quarrels with the commander, because at first it was a simple transportation and now they have lost too many of his people, but he has to obey. Soon Cleo reports approaching the object, but the fugitive has prepared an ambush from which he shoots at the approaching enemies and destroys the commander. The lieutenant orders the remaining soldier to go around, and when he notices the enemy, destroy him. The soldier shoots and hits. He runs to the place where the fugitive fell, but finds only his cloak. The lieutenant also hurries to the scene of the shootout, not knowing that the soldier has already been caught by the criminal and is losing the fight. His helmet is knocked off, and it becomes clear that these are representatives of an extraterrestrial race. And then Centurion 7 comes out from behind a rock, who, as it turns out, was only stunned by a shot. He orders to set up a night shelter, and the lieutenant has to obey. At night, the lieutenant contacts Clea to find out about the condition of the commander, and she lists the injuries and the measures she has taken to stabilize Centurion 7's body. He orders to reduce the concentration of painkillers, otherwise the commander will not be able to continue the journey tomorrow. The lieutenant is generally behaving strangely. He is one of the rare military men who is prone to disobedience. So why did he become a soldier? In the morning, the pair receives Cleo's permission to remove their helmets, and the commander explains that the prisoner is not affected by the thin air, as he can adapt to any conditions. Under pressure from the lieutenant, the commander is forced to admit that the prisoner is very dangerous, but he must be captured alive as his planet was destroyed. H is the only surviving representative of his race. The lieutenant is outraged that the commander did not consider it necessary to notify his squad about the highest level of danger of the mission. The quarrel turns into a fight, but the commander manages to bring the lieutenant to obedience. Then a shot is heard from behind a rock, and the lieutenant falls. The commander calls Clea, but she is silent. The military man looks around, notices a bracer, and runs towards it, unaware that he is in the sights of the fugitive. Finally, he manages to contact Clea, and she informs him of the direction of the prisoner's escape. The commander takes the fallen lieutenant's weapon and sets off on the trail. The planet is very hot. There is no vegetation, only sand and rocks. Soon the commander finds a bug that the fugitive managed to tear out of himself. The sand behind the soldier moves, and from there the fugitive appears, who manages to stun the warrior. The prisoner finds a special device in the enemy's bag and removes the mask, under which it turns out to be a man. The man leaves the scene of the fight, where the soldier soon comes to his senses. He does not understand the man's actions. In addition, the AI has disappeared, and at first he is very angry. Meanwhile, the man drinks water from the fallen enemy's reserves, bandages his wounds, and eats his food, while the commander returns to the place where the lieutenant fell. Later, the fugitive tries to activate Clea, but she refuses to let an unregistered user into the system. Meanwhile, the soldier finds the lieutenant's helmet and connects to Clea, who reports an unknown intrusion attempt. The commander is very surprised that the man tried to talk to Clea and understood her, while the fugitive falls asleep and a local animal gets into his clothes. The man catches and eats it, but then he sees the soldier, who again loses contact with Clea. The commander shouts that, without contact, they will not be able to get off the planet. A squabble ensues between them, and the man admits that he intends to take the enemy with him. Otherwise, he would have destroyed him long ago, to which the alien threatens that now he will act to kill. There are 32 hours left before the rescuers arrive. The military man continues to chase the man, and soon they meet face to face at a deep crevice. The man offers him to surrender and fly home while he has somewhere to return to. But he fires a projectile, wounds the enemy in the shoulder, and disappears. The wounded man loses strength and rests in the shadow of a rock. Then he contacts Centurion 7, expressing his contempt for his race, but he considers the man a primate, although he speaks the language of the stars. In addition, humans have tainted themselves by collaborating with the Drega, the enemies of his race. It becomes clear that the aliens destroyed the Earthlings by attacking their planet, but now, according to the man, it is their turn. The military man offers the Earthling to surrender and fly away together, but he refuses. In the morning, the chase continues, and soon the commander finds the AI left by the man. He does not understand why the enemy did this, and Clea also cannot figure out his plan, but she offers a cunning plan. Soon she finds that her charge is running out, so the AI turns off the commander's painkillers, but he intends to endure it just to fulfill his plan, and follows the trail when he receives a message from orbit. An unidentified ship is landing on the planet. It turns out to be a representative of the Draxian race. At this time, an iron arrow flies into the man, and he loses consciousness. The commander gets to this place, finds the arrow and follows the trail, and the man comes to his senses from the fact that he is being dragged along the ground. Noticing this, the alien admits that he is a space bounty hunter and intends to sell him to the Sidonians. The man admits that people created a world bomb, which pleases the other races very much, because the Sidonians are slave owners and a punishment for all planets. The pirate is torn between the desire to destroy the man and harm the Sidonians and raises his weapon when the commander comes to this place and enters the fight. Taking advantage of this, the man runs away. After a brutal fight, the bounty hunter loses, and Centurion 7 catches up with the fugitive. There are 45 minutes left until evacuation. The commander ties up the fugitive and starts asking questions. The man's name is Jericho. He is a lieutenant in the Earth military who managed to send a ship with explosives to the Sidonian planet, which will destroy Sidonia. That is why the man is needed alive. Only he knows where this huge bomb is. Centurion 7 justifies his race, which destroys all life in its path, by saying that this is their path and it will always be so. But the man doubts this, because sooner or later there will be another race which is stronger. This argument makes the alien think, because on his planet there are many who are not to blame for the fact that the authorities decided to destroy the Earth. He himself has a wife, and therefore he asks the man to be a warrior to the end and fight with those who are responsible. Jericho agrees to give the coordinates, but wants to do it directly, for which Centurion has to activate Clea on the person's personality. The man gives the coordinates, after which Centurion 7 receives an order to destroy the prisoner, especially since the alien has no wife. But the man himself admits that he deceived him and gave the coordinates of the decoy ship, which does not have any explosives on it. The man attacks Centurion 7 because he freed himself long ago with the help of his own weapon, hidden in his boot. They fight for a long time with varying success, but in the end, the Sidonian loses consciousness. The man throws him over his shoulder and carries him to the meeting place with the rescue ship, where he admits to the awakened enemy that in reality people could not send such a ship because they did not know where Sidonia is. But now Jericho has gained access to their database and will learn everything he needs. They did not fall on this planet by accident, but so that the enemy would know what it was like to be the last of a kind. Because unlike Centurion 7, he had a wife and son on Earth. Jericho puts on his enemy's suit and goes to meet the Sidonian rescue ship. Approaching the arrivals, the man destroys the squad and penetrates their ship. Centurion 7 aims at him, but does not do so. Jericho flies away, leaving the alien on the planet. But having taken off, he discovers that Clea is not responding to requests. The commander looks at the sky and then contacts the AI. Clea is happy to greet him, since they have succeeded. The human needed her. At this moment, Centurion 7 is called by the base. Jericho also hears a conversation in which the commander refuses to carry out the criminal orders of the command, while the human tracks the coordinates of Sidonia. He himself intends to get off the planet on the pirate ship, which remains somewhere here.